This is Casper Mountain, and it is pretty stunning when the sky is blue. And when I first moved to the US, I snowboard on this mountain, and it was pretty fun.
Casper is definitely different from where we're at.
True.
It's different in terms of climate and different in terms of culture.
Casper people are more...
They're not as outgoing. They're a little bit more standoffish usually. Iowa people are pretty. The minute you see them, a lot of times they're kind of like, "Hi." Casper people aren't necessarily that way. They're not as. It's very difficult to tell in Casper who has money and who doesn't.
True.
In general.
But they don't act like a big deal themselves.
No, they don't act like big deals. People with money here don't act like they have money because nobody cares.
Other people has a
There's a lot
few
of other
billions.
People, yep, there's a lot of other people that have money, and the people that don't, it really doesn't matter. I mean, you don't see in Cedar Rapids. There's a very clear distinction between people that have money and people that don't. Like their kids don't play together.
That's true.
But here, there's no such thing like that. The kids play together because they play together.
Because they like each other, because they go to the same school type thing.
And a lot of times it's because they're doing the same activities.
Which is, yeah.
You just don't see that kind of thing. Like growing up, I had friends who weren't very well off, and that didn't matter at all. But they're definitely not based on how much money
you
their
make.
parents have.
In Cedar Rapids, if you make $100,000, somehow you're the biggest deal on the planet.
Yep.
And then they talk like, oh my gosh, you're billionaires.
Well, it's because there are no billionaires there.
True.
The funny thing about Cedar Rapids is that there really isn't any big money. in Cedar
There's
Rapids.
none that
You kind of get like those executives at Rockwell and Agon and stuff who maybe make
$300,000.
$300,000 a year. Yep. But you don't have people that are worth billions. That just, and you have that here.
It's not just one or two.
Yeah.
It's a pool.
Yep. You have people here that can completely just buy everything if they want to.
If they want to, yes.
And but they don't act like that. Whereas in Cedar Rapids, you sort of get everybody's closer to the middle, right? Like everybody's closer to sort of a median salary of about $70,000 or so.
Yeah.
And you have people that make $20,000, and you have people that make $300,000.
Yeah.
But you don't have these extremes.
Yes.
And so the people that make $300,000 really act like they're big deals. And
Yes.
the people that make $100,000 think the people that make $300,000 are like God.
It's crazy.
They treat them like that, and there's just that weird social dynamic. It's a very small town. It's not at all metropolitan. Denver doesn't act that way. Denver is closer to Cedar Rapids in terms of the polarities not being what they are. Like you don't have per capita the number of billionaires in Denver that you do here. It's more like Cedar Rapids, right? Like more people are closer to the mean.
Yeah.
But it's a big city and nobody cares. Like people just sort of do what they do, and you're just trying to get by, and maybe you have a group of friends, but it's totally based on whatever works for you.
Who goes to the same school? Because in my school there is a lady who lives in Aspen, and then when it snows, she comes into her private plane when she snows. But she was the nicest, down to earth that I ever met. She never act like, oh, oop-de-doo. And then whenever we come to Aspen, come to our resort, and then we'll go skiing together. She has a resort, and then she just like, that's cool. And she ride her bikes, and then she wear t-shirts and jeans and come to school, and that's it.
It's different, but Iowa, it's more like, it's like a small town. It's like a little town in Iowa that used to be like a farmer community, right? some farmer's kid like became the banker,
Yes.
right? And then
Yeah.
the banker made money, right? And then all of a sudden, it was that banker's children or that banker that all of the farmers wanted their daughter to marry.
To marry.
You know,
Yeah.
and like, so you kind of have this sort of stratification between kind of just the rudimentary, like run-of-the-mill, normal paysan type group, and then the kind of the elite, the bourgeois, right? And there is no aristocracy.
No.
You know, it's just the bourgeois. And if the bourgeois is the top of the pyramid, then they start to act like they're aristocracy, right? Like
True.
they start to act like they're in rarefied space and they were born with richer blood than everybody else. And, you know, that's where you get this hoity-toity, like, stupid shit. Because anybody can become a bourgeois. You just have to sacrifice enough
A lot.
to get there, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Save
you
enough.
can make that money.
Yeah.
But when you get these small town ideas that, you know, if you just plotted and schemed enough and associated with the right people, you could be in that rarefied air, then people act that way. And they structure their activities that way and their social
And
ethic
the
that way.
pettiness is just stupid.
No, well, because they think it's, you know, they think it's a limited pie, it's a limited space to get into, and they just covet it. So, you know, there's competition, and there's these people with small town ideas. It's like they think really only so many people can be important. So I got to cut other people down to be important because this is a small town. Well, no, it's not. People don't act that way. But you have all these people in Cedar Rapids that have really never been anywhere else.
Exactly.
And so it seems like getting into that I make $100,000 range, that just feels like you've kind of made
It. Yes.
like you are all of a sudden part of a different caste of people. But it doesn't stop there. They're not satisfied when they get there because it's an ambition, right? It's
Yeah,
an
you gotta keep
idea.
climbing.
You just get used to like scheming to get to the next ring, you know, the next inner circle.
Go. Yeah.
And so you get people that act really nasty and really stupid. There are really smart people that fall into that stuff. But you know, it's about peer pressure. It's that peer pressure idea.
Yes, you have to have a set identity not to fall into the crap.
Yeah, but I mean, I think even smart people that grow up in that, it's like they're like space shuttles and they can't escape a planet's gravity, you know, unless they really have a lot of velocity behind them.
Yes.
That does.
Yes, I'm looking at you. Yes. 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 Yes.